How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Dead Air, a DayZ talk show. Today we're not going to really talk about DayZ too much.
Sound resumed.
Welcome, everybody, guys. Welcome to Dead Air. I am so proud and so happy to bring to you guys a special Epoch edition of Dead Air. We're going to be talking with the developers of the Epoch Mod, the mod from Arma 2 that everyone knows and loves. Now, guys, they have made a mod for Arma 3, and it is good. Drumsetjunky has played it. And let's get to introducing the developers that are here with us. We are joined by AWOL, who is the lead developer, VB AWOL. How are you, sir? And what do you do?
I'm doing good.
What do you do, real quick, for the mod?
I do all the coding, lead on the testing, obviously, right? Making sure everything gets put together. That's it. That's about it. I'm a coder.
Awesome. We're also joined by Axels, who's also a developer. What do you do on the project, Axels?
I handle a lot of the public relations, deal with a lot of the community, and I'm the lead crash test dummy for AWOL when he needs stuff broken.
Nice. We're also joined by Kiori. Kiori, I hope I've always said Kiori, and I hope I'm saying it correct. Am I saying it right, Kiori?
That's right. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, what do you do on the project, man?
I'm just a modeler, man. I make vehicles and weapons and stuff like that. More to come.
Awesome. And of course, Sequisha, how are you, sir? And what do you do?
Greetings. Yeah, 3D modeler for Epoch. I guess I joined them like a little bit more than a year ago. It's kind of been floating around. All the assets from DayZ Epoch, or all the additional assets, the non-Bohemia stuff, I created for that. And yeah, we've been working on, I guess, Arma 3 Epoch for a little more than 8 months now. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I have my stuff all over the place in Epoch.
Awesome. So basically, guys, we're going to do a little bit different. Normally I just try to throw out as much information to the audience as I can about what's going on in the mod. But what I want to do today, and I want to start off the podcast or the stream today with getting to know the developers, because you guys are going to be playing their mod for the next couple of years, presumably. And I want you guys to know and to have an idea of who made this thing. So I'm gonna real quick, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna talk to each one of them and kind of get their backstories, and then we're gonna get into kind of a roadmap, whatever they will actually reveal to me for what's coming up on for Epoch, and we'll get to talking a little bit more about some in-depth information about the mod itself. And then towards the end, guys, we are going to actually be doing some Q&A. So save those questions, guys. If you have a question, save it. I'll open up chat. I'll tell you guys to ask your questions, and we will pull questions directly from chat. And that is where the juicy good stuff's going to be. So definitely stick around towards the end, because that's where you're going to get your questions answered. So first off, AWOL.
Yes.
How did you get into Arma? How did you discover the game? And how did you kind of discover the modding portion of it? Could you give us that backstory to that?
Well, my story for Arma goes back to Operation Flashpoint. I bought it back in 2001 when it first came out. Not really sure how I found out about it exactly. I mean, it was just kind of going through the grapevine at the time, right? And I got it at the time. I got it, and it was just amazing. The scope of the game. Nobody else was doing something like that, and they got me hooked. So when Arma 1 came out, and I knew it was made by Bohemia, the same developers, I bought that as soon as I could. I couldn't even buy it in USA yet. I had to buy it in the German version early. So I ended up buying it twice, actually, just to get Arma 1. And I basically bought Arma 2 just as soon as it came out as well, and I've always basically supported the line of the game that Bohemia makes. I just love it. It's never really gotten a lot of play, and that's kind of where DayZ came in, and basically DayZ actually brought Arma a player base that it never had before, right?
Right,
Big
right.
one, a very big one.
A very big
right?
one.
Yeah, so Rocket is, very
All hail
should be
Lord
commended
Rocket.
for that. Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. And that kind of DayZ kind of spurred my interest in Arma again. It got me thinking, well, shit, I'll check it out again. And then it was the DayZ Lingor mod map that had came out that kind of really got me going. I was like, oh shit, wow, this can be run on another map, and it got me thinking. And I ended up making kind of like a project. It was called DayZ AnyMap project, and the idea was just to take DayZ, take any parts of it that were kind of hard coded to Chernarus, and make it configurable and make it so it could work on any map, right? And that was kind of where the seed for Epoch came from. It's like, I realized at some point that just an AnyMap project couldn't really compete with the likes of like Origins and the already established map mods that were already released, right?
Right, right.
So I thought back to some other ideas that I had, and the concept of trash. There being a lot of trash loot back in the day. If you played early on, everybody basically just cleared out every building and just put it all in a pile, right?
Right, right.
And that's kind of where the idea of a trader came from. And we literally added one single trader, and his name, like, he had a little dot on the map, and his name was Rocket the Tin Can Man. I mean, no, I don't mean any offense by that or anything.
That's hilarious, though.
It's just what we picked, and his job was to sell, or not sell, but it was completely barter based. So he basically would trade you 6 empty tin cans or 6 empty soda cans for a full one, right? And it kind of like took a lot of what was a lot of trash in the world and gave it some purpose, right? And that's kind of where like we started with the first trader for DayZ Epoch, I guess, what it became, right?
Wow.
It wasn't even called Epoch at that time, right?
What was the what was kind of the first name of that kind of mod? That
it was like VBLX, because like I'm in the clan Veteran Bastards, so
Nice.
Our clan tag is VB, and LX was like, it was something play on like Light Lingor X or something like that, but
right.
like the whole Lingor thing wasn't really going to work out, because we contacted the maker of Lingor, Icebreaker, and asked him about using his map with a mod that we were going to release, and he said it would be all good, but later, 6 months later, after it was more developed, we checked back with him, and he's like, nope, I don't want anybody using it. It's like, okay, never mind. But at that point we'd already had it released, and it was kind of like snuck up on me, because I developed this project just like just a side project just for me and my clan, basically, and I showed it to actually my brother, VB Green. He does all our logos, like, so all the logos that we currently have, all the logos we previously had, they're all done by my brother. And he started showing it off to somebody. He started showing it off to a couple people on Twitch, and one of them was Axel. And Axel was like very receptive to it, like initially, after he kind of got over his doubts, right? And Axel could probably tell his side of the story better, but I'll hit on that just real quick. And basically, I showed it to Axel, and people started seeing it, and people started wanting to play it, and we just basically released it.
Cool. So that was I guess that was the spawning of Epoch.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was only after somebody looked at it and said, hey, you should continue on, and I did it for like 8 months, and then we started showing it off.
Gotcha.
And then that's where 1.0 for DayZ Epoch came from.
Cool.
And everything else has been like a blur. I mean, we've been just constantly updating, and there's been new DayZ builds that we've merged with and kept up with, and some we haven't. And
I want to ask you this, because this is actually one of the things I want to ask each one of you. So, AWOL, you're going to be kind of on the spot here, because you're going to have to think of something on the fly. But everybody else is going to have a chance to think about this. What is your favorite thing from your favorite, I guess, Arma 2 Epoch like experience or story or addition what's kind of if you can look back on Arma 2 Epoch, let's say that you were, I mean, we're still in the days of Arma 2 Epoch. I mean, that's undoubtable, but let's say that if you were to 5 years from now, if you were to look back on your Arma 2 Epoch days, what would be the highlight? Like whether there was a feature or something that happened or a community response or something like that.
I'd say like in game for me, it was like initially when we kind of had the breakthrough with the base building, the modular base building. It was kind of after a lull, and me and Paul Sequisha actually kind of like brainstormed it, and literally it was like 2 weeks, and we fucking banged out Paul made a bunch of pieces, and I put them in and made the code, and we basically got our first modular base building concept, and that was like felt really cool.
Oh,
because
yeah,
everybody reacted really positively to that. It was fucking awesome.
And I think, I mean, and feel free to correct me if you feel otherwise, but I think besides the trader cities, that has kind of been the absolute trademark of Epoch is base building and base wars and being able to
it's a
create your own
base
home.
build. Yep. Economy, base building. That's the main things.
Yep. I'm gonna save my Arma 3 questions. I want to come back to you for Arma 3 questions. Let's go down to Axel's. Axel's, you've described yourself as the lead crash dummy. How did you get into Arma? And kind of the same question I posed to AWOL. How did you get into Arma? How did you get into modding? And how did you if you would, give us a little bit more also on how you met AWOL.
Well, to say how I got into DayZ or Arma itself is pretty simple. I love games where it's full loot PvP, where you chance life and death and losing everything. It's something I've always cherished in a game, and found was lacking for like the last 6 years. Finding a good game that could do that was just not there. And my buddy turned me onto it and said, "Hey, it's on sale on Amazon for $15." And I said, "Why not?" I picked it up, and I knew nothing of the game, nothing of the engine. And for the first night, those zombies did scare me, and it was a great time. And I spent loads of time doing stuff with that. And it came to a point to where my wife had a server, and I was streaming on Twitch, much like you guys are just sitting here watching. And I was in a 3D editor creating an admin city on Skilitsky Island and tediously building this bridge that literally took 48 hours to get right because I had a DayZ ST server and their system was... Anyways, we'll move on. But yeah, AWOL and his brother showed up in my Twitch stream one day, and they decided to say, "Hey, you should check out our mod." And I'd always get kids that come in and say, "Hey, you should come check out our server, and we've got bases and loads of stuff." And I'd log in and it'd be a horrible mess, so I steered away from that. That's why I had my doubts originally. And finally, his brother linked me the wiki that they had, and I was like, "Wait, they got a wiki? What's going on here?" And I saw what they had for features. And after about a week of trying to get a hold of them, I got into the server, and they basically offered, they wanted me to stream playing it so they could check for bugs and stuff. And I knew from the moment I logged in and made my way to Bash up in Chinaris by the airfield that they had something, and I wanted to be a part of it in any way that I could. He eventually asked me to build trader cities on the other maps, which I was a complete noob at. I could place down the traders and the objects and save it, and I'd send him all the work and he'd do the rest. And throughout the year, I actually learned how to do most of the work to where I could just send him off a final product and he could just plug it in, which was nice. So I've been around for quite a while, and I do help a lot with the promotion of it. I manage the social media.
Oh, big time.
And I'm apparently the keymaster because I give away way too many keys.
Lord Keymaster, Axels.
And for those of you asking, yes, we'll have loads of keys to pass out all over the place. You guys will find out more later about that.
Sweet. What would your favorite Arma 2 Epoch experience or edition, or what's your kind of, I guess, one of your favorite things about as far as when it comes to Arma 2 Epoch?
When it comes to Arma 2 Epoch, I like how it almost forces people to play together and to think ahead and to not just go in there and think that they own the place and they can do whatever they want. I love getting the feeling of, okay, what are we gonna do? We got destroyed, we got killed. Now we've got to go loot up and go try and recover our stuff. And it literally forces people to think a lot more about more in-depth things on how to do things and how to proceed in certain areas. And I get a big kick out of that. That's for the game. When I play, I love when people come together. But as far as just as from sitting as a standpoint from actually watching the mod grow, I think that's been the greatest part is watching this great community come together and support us the way they have, and watching it become what it has is just simply amazing. I know one of the questions I asked AWOL very early on was, "Man, I think you got something here. How many servers do you think you'd actually, be happy seeing?" And he said, "Oh man, I'd be happy with 50 Daisy Epoch servers."
Yeah,
And I said,
yep.
"No, man, you've got a mod here that's awesome. I think you'll get at least 500." And I think we peaked out at about 4,300 servers, maybe more at one point. So it's been astounding how much support we've gotten, and it's humbling every day.
Awesome, awesome. Kiori, how did you get into Arma? How did you get to DayZ, and how did you get onto the development team?
Well, it all started off in my mother's womb. No. No, basically, with Arma, I basically discovered DayZ through some Twitch streams, and I just thought that looked fucking amazing. I want to be a part of that. So, I started playing DayZ. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And then I realized, like, this is not a game. This is a mod of a game, which was Arma. And then I started picking up Arma after that, and I was thinking, well, shit, I could do a better job than this. So, yeah, I started playing with the engine for quite a bit, and then Arma 3 rolled out, and then that was it for me. It was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, so I started building models and learning, configuring and stuff like that, getting my stuff in game and shit. And yeah, that's basically how I got into Arma. What was the other question?
I guess just how you got into the dev team for Epoch.
Oh, that happened. I was working on a life mod, and it was like drastically declining. No work was being done. Only me on the team was like working, doing models and stuff like that. And I met Sequisha through, was it one of the Skype channels, Paul? I think I met
Yeah, I
Paul
think it
through
was.
one of the
Yeah,
Skype channels.
it was the Model Makers channel.
And I was like, oh man, this life mod is not going good. Like I'm sick of this shit. And he kind of suggested that you'd be more than welcome to join the team. And that's basically how I ended up on this team. I've only been How long have I been here, guys? About 5 months or so.
It feels like it's been so much more.
Well, put it this way.
It feels like it started from his mother's womb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I simply gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Basically, yeah.
It was free Kit Kats.
So yeah, I'm brand new to the team, and I'm enjoying the hell out of myself. I get to experiment every day, and just today we on the dev branch of Arma 3 they implemented sling loading for helicopters, and I've been playing with that a bunch, and getting the base building stuff integrated with that was really fun. I'm having a ball.
Awesome.
Sorry about the cat.
That's okay. Just let it do its thing, man. Sequisha, how did you get into Arma? What was your experience getting into Arma 2 and DayZ, and how did you end up on the Epoch dev team?
Oh man, yeah, it's such a long, thing. I'm gonna try to condense it as much as possible. I mean, actually, how I originally got into it was playing with a couple guys that were actually streaming Diablo 3. So like when Diablo 3 was out, and there was somebody that was streaming it, and I'm trolling in the stream like, hey man, you should let me come in there and crush with you guys, and they're like, all right, fuck it, and I went in there and we just crushed everything, and then those guys that I met like shortly after, you know, because they were really into like, you know, the Twitch streaming community and following some of the
Right.
new games that were out, and Daisy was really kind of, I guess, picking up speed at that point. He's like, hey man, you got to come try this, and yeah, I got in, man, and it was just one of those things, man, like when your heart's pounding out of your chest from like one of your first encounters, and like carrying on, like most of the encounters that you would get with other players, when you get that, it's something magical, you know.
It's
Sometimes
addictive.
yeah, I mean, like, you know, and a lot of times it's kind of a perfect storm type of scenario, you know, like the stars aligned and this magical thing happened from an amazing engine, and you know, and some of the you know, the vision that Dean had, you know, and kind of stumbled across something magical. It's something like that's very difficult to formulate, and I think it's great that you know, a lot of people, including us, have had the opportunity to kind of take that and expand on it, and kind of you know, take some of the core bits of it and try and strengthen them up a little bit. Or not necessarily strengthen them, but shape them like in a new direction, you know, to
Right.
kind of,
Right.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I got into it. As far as the Epoch team, I saw Axel was streaming, doing putting one of the trader cities together on one of the maps. I think he was setting it up for Namalsk at the time. And I know his stream looks so good. I'm just like, God, is this guy like playing Arma 3? Like, because I know like Arma 3 Alpha was like on its, you know, on I think it had been released at that point, the Arma 3 Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, man, I do that kind of stuff. You know, I'd put like some custom building add-on for one server we played on that was pretty popular, and a lot of people really liked it, and they were like, oh man, you know, like, so I don't know, that was kind of one thing. That's kind of how I got into it, and I sent him a message. I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to school, I'm doing 3D modeling stuff, you know, I'd like a project to kind of sink my teeth into. And you know, after like a week or so, they got back to me, and you know, I hopped into TeamSpeak. AWOL was he was gone for a couple days. I think he was kind of like taking a little mini vacation.
AWOL was AWOL?
Not
That's
surprising.
right.
Ha ha ha.
Not surprising around here, let me tell you.
Actually, Axel can kind of take over, I guess, kind of how that went down when I sent him a
Oh,
message.
do you want me to go into the whole spiel of it with the joke and everything?
Do it.
Hey, whatever.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I don't
Alright,
care if the audience
don't
wants to
listen
hear it.
to
At this point, I just want to
Sequisha
hear it.
guy, This Sequisha guy messages me, I think on Twitter, and I'm managing the Twitter page, and I was like, yeah, man, jump in our TS, because we had been looking for modelers, and because we desperately needed a modeler, and we couldn't really progress without one at this point, and we wanted to expand. So this guy comes in, and like I said, horrible luck with modelers. Asked him to make a dinner plate, and months later, nothing. I asked this guy, what did you make first, Paul? The first three things I asked you? It was like a fishing pole and some other stuff.
Oh, yeah, and that one strap on. Well, we never released that one.
Anyways, I asked this guy to make us some models, right? And he's like, yeah, let me just start working on it. And he comes back like literally 30 minutes later, and he's got a rough block out of what we need already. And I was like, wow, what the hell? This guy's actually doing work. It's not going to take me a month to get a plate. And he's like, oh yeah, man. Well, the next one I'm gonna put a wiener in it. We're gonna have a wiener somewhere on it. It's just gonna be wienerful. And I was kind of thrown off by this at first because I don't know the guy. I don't know his background or nothing. And he's coming in talking about wieners. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a disaster. This guy wants to put wieners in his work. And I didn't know how well it would go over, but obviously it's turned out to be one of the best things to happen to Epoch, is to make it to where you guys can have giant clan wars.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hey, it all starts with the wiener, man.
It all starts with the wiener. It's got to. I don't know where to go from there. I guess let's talk about let's talk about the decision. Obviously, I'll just kind of set the stage for you guys. Arma 2's out. It's been successful. Arma 3, Arma 2 Epoch's out. It's been successful. Arma 3 is out there. What was the meeting? And whoever wants to speak up first was welcome to answer this.
Oh, this is AWOL right here.
At what point was it the decision made? We're gonna make an Arma 3 version of Epoch.
as soon as Arma 3 was announced, and basically in alpha state, I already knew that I was going to make a new mod off of it. The intention was always to make an entirely new mod. This was well before the Make Arma Not War contest and everything.
Oh, speaking of that, I'm gonna plug it real quick since you
do it.
I'm gonna plug it in your chat here.
Yeah, throw it in chat.
So for those of you guys don't know, we put in a nice little what do you call it, contest where we can win stuff or money specifically to help with other stuff for developing. And we've entered it, so if you guys want to show your support, you can go there, log in, and click the support button. It doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I left off halfway. Where were we?
Just we were talking about the
Axel, you confused.
we're talking about the decision to make an Arma 3 version of Epoch. And basically,
when and who was involved. I mean, it was basically just me. Yeah, I mean, I just decided I was going to make it, and I had a lot. We had a lot of stuff to do on the DayZ, the Arma 2 DayZ Epoch side, right? So I kept working on it until about December 15th of 2013, and then at that point, basically, I decided, all right, it's Arma 3. Full time from here on out, basically, other than just a few, minutes, just to we released a couple patches after that, but they were very minimal, just kind of like hotfix style. And Paul, Sequisha, and Axel, they're definitely on board. I don't think I really even had to ask, Kiori, we had seen him streaming, and everything he was doing was so cool and awesome, and he was showing it all off, and the process, and I remember talking to Paul, and he's like, yeah, I talked to that guy sometime, I was like, man, we gotta talk to him, let's get Kiori in here,
Okay.
That's kind of once we got that team, that we just we started plugging away. I basically made the persistency backend system for Arma 3 Epoch, mocked it up, got everything going, and we've just been trying to allocate our time well and make as many assets as we can, and kind of get some base elements in, so we can actually have something for people to do, right?
So if you were to, I guess, describe, and again, anybody's free to answer this question. If you guys were I want everybody to answer this question. If you were to describe the mod yourself to, let's say, a regular gamer that maybe not be not into Arma mods yet, how would you describe it? And I'll start off. I'll let Sequisha start off. How would you describe the mod? For the Arma 3 mod.
Right now?
Yeah. What's out right now, or even what potentially is it's gonna be.
Well, right now, I believe it's kind of the sandbox element in the Arma 3 engine that people have been kind of maybe they feel like they haven't been able to experience yet on the Arma 3 engine. Is the true like sandbox freedom of choice, freedom of movement. The able to make decisions. And I think more importantly than anything else, what our main drive is to have a lot of the gameplay elements and the mechanics are to be pretty much governed by the game mechanics and not require administrative intervention, because I've always felt like like a fair and balanced competitive like playing environment is always best. Like in the past on servers, if there's moderators or administrators that play competitively on the server, it's never going to work. You're always going to get some type of slanted, like twisted shit, whether or not, I don't know, maybe people get banned for the wrong reasons due to like, some type of rivalry or whatever. So that neutrality that should be maintained for that kind of scenario, we're trying to make it so administrators aren't going to need to intervene, hopefully. I mean, there's always going to be something, but we're trying to slim that down as much as possible, so these are kind of autonomous running servers, and there's not a lot of gray area as far as like what's right or wrong. Like if something's wrong in game, you're either gonna have consequences in game, or something of that matter. You're not gonna need to be like, oh, this guy was camping me here and he did this and this and this, so can you ban him? Like, that shit we want to avoid entirely, because most people don't make the right decisions anyway whenever they're administrating that environment to begin with. So essentially, to answer your question, pretty much a sandbox environment with end game and fucking goals. You can be able to establish, value and wealth in your character and kind of create your own playing scenario. We want it to be player driven. We want players to create, their own, pretty much their own experience is really the main drive of all this.
Right. Okay. Kiori, how would you explain to someone who maybe is uninitiated to Arma 3 or is new to Arma 3 or the Arma world, how would you explain the Epoch mod?
Well, firstly, I'd probably give him a slap, just to say, why the hell haven't you played it? Honestly, I'm probably the worst person to ask this question because I don't pay attention to my surroundings. I don't do anything other than modeling, really. So, but I honestly, Sequisha just covered literally everything that my thoughts contain, basically. So I don't really have much else to say, unfortunately.
Okay. Axels, how would you explain the Arma 3 Epoch mod?
For somebody who's never played, I would have to say that it is just that. It's an experience. It's something you can never get back. It's something you wish you always had. It'll put the fear of whatever in you, and it'll also put the joy in you when you do succeed and you finally get to where you're going and you've got that secure storage and you can finally start eking out a fortune. It's just that, an experience.
Cool. AWOL, how would you explain the Arma 3?
I don't know if I could top any of those other descriptions.
Yeah, now you know how I feel.
Yeah. Paul and Axel did a really good job. I mean, open world survival, exploration, crafting, building. That's kind of like this little tagline, I guess. I mean, that's how I would sum it up. Too long didn't read style, right?
So did I win that round? Are we on to the lightning round now?
Yeah.
I'm feeling
No.
I'm on a streak, bar.
I'm gonna vouch for myself. I took that one all.
Oh my god. So, you guys have you're an entrant into the Make Arma Not War contest. A lot of people don't know what that really is, like what the end goal is. They see links for it, they click the support button, and they never actually read or tell it. If one of you would tell us what the Make Arma Not War contest is, what the goal of it is, I guess to win it, since it is a contest or whatever, and kind of what you guys are hoping as far as the contest goes.
Well, I must say I never saw the Make Arma Not War contest coming, but when they released it, I thought, wow, that Bohemia is paying attention, to what's going on, and really, it's the Make Arma Not War contest has shit. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, go ahead. Somebody else.
I got it real quick. It's easy.
There you go.
So basically what happens here is they got a bunch of different categories that you can enter from total modifications to add-ons to multiplayer scenarios to single-player scenarios. And each category has its different positions of winning. Some of them you can get first, second, and third. For the total modification, which is what we entered, there's just one prize. It's 200,000 euro. And they've got a couple extra perks in there, like maybe they can offer you something down the road as far as working with them or whatnot. But it's like AOL said, it's something we didn't see coming. We had plans to work on Arma 3 Epoch well before this contest was announced. When he looked into the rule set, he saw that the total modification was where we would fit, seeing as it's what we're trying to do. And the guidelines that they had instated, we were already pretty much all green on those. We didn't have any issues with that. So after a little bit of deliberation, we just decided, why not enter? I mean, why not? We do this for free for the community, for us to make a game we want to play. We're glad you guys enjoy it. and it's just, you guys have been an awesome community. Maybe you can help support us, give us a little pocket money so we can maybe continue doing great things, and hopefully you guys can continue to enjoy them. That's basically the premise for us joining it.
Yeah, I think we all like
I
the
think it has to
freedom of
be.
doing what we're doing, and we'd like to continue doing it.
I think we should probably say as well that the votes don't actually guarantee a win. These are just, it's like a way of supporting the mod, get it on the front page and that sort of thing. Like, so in the end, it's down to the judges to decide who's the winner at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah, we've still got to
Just
put out
thought
a
I'd throw that-
product worth having, right?
Right.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, definitely go check that out. MakeArmaNotWar.com, and that link for the specific page for the the Epoch page is floating around in chat, and it's there on screen for you as well. So definitely go check that out. Go hit the support page, click that little plus, that yellow plus button, so you guys can support it, and it's a good deal. It's a good deal. Let's move on. Let's talk about let's start getting into the mod itself, and let's talk about some key features here. And I guess what I would say is we've kind of roughly described it for those of you for those that may be watching. We've sorry about that. We've already described the mod briefly for those that may be uninitiated, but let's talk about some key features. And I've just opened this question to all four of you. What are some key features in Epoch that direct that the gameplay?
Oh, I'm gonna start. Some of the AI are kind of freaky, and a couple of our testers might have soiled themselves. IRL. So
I've
that's
heard that.
one.
May or may not have
They may
confirmed
or
to
may
shit their pants.
yeah.
So
one of them might have shit himself.
So like in Arma 2 Epoch, it was all about zombies. Whenever you guys sat down and decided to make the Arma 3 Epoch mod, or had a preliminary meeting, how did that coming up with antagonists for NPC antagonists? What was that like? What was that experience like? Trying to figure out, okay, we don't want to use zombies. What do we want to use?
Well, yeah, I guess I can start on this one. It's kind of one of those things. Like a zombie is kind of
Dumb.
No. It's a very easy thing to do because it's literally, you could kind of take any
safe.
Yeah, it's safe, it's easy to fit into the to the logical within the fantastic realm. I mean, there's literally not a whole lot additional things you need to do aside from animation suites and other supporting code for like effects and how it affects a player and like audio and that kind of thing. And it seemed like too much of an easy thing to do, and that's honestly why you see so many zombie games, and this is even like long before DayZ was more of a thing, from Left 4 Dead and other games. It's just a very easy antagonist to throw at the player. That archetype is just it's just fucking easy. That's why it's overdone. But I don't know, we really wanted to kind of push it a little bit and try to do something new. We're not about cloning shit that's been done in the past. I mean, of course, we take inspiration from all walks of media, whether it be music or movies or other games we've played in the past, artwork. I mean, all kinds of stuff. But as far as the antagonist, where we're at now, I don't know. It's kind of it's been really cool. We have a lot of really cool ideas we want to. And then you keep in mind, like, this is all kind of an experiment as well. We're really trying to see how players take it, whether or not they accept this as like an acceptable antagonist, or whether or not it's too frustrating, or we're just trying to engage the player in different ways rather than exhausting them with just tons and hordes of zombies. I mean, I think the moment that I decided, I was with AWOL and TeamSpeak, as we normally are when we're working. seeing people stream, whether it be Daisy or it was Daisy Mod Day Zero, and the guys are all, chatting, bantering around while they're doing their normal thing, and they're literally just running past scores and scores of zombies. Like there's no even recognition that
No
there were
threat,
zombies
yeah.
there. Yeah, I mean, like the threat thing, it's almost like it's so common that no one even could pinpoint, and like recognize it. Like, hey, do you not see this as a problem? Like you're running past these zombies. And the only time people were fucking dying, it was generally under kind of annoying circumstances. Like their leg got broken in the door, and then they just so happened the horde of fucking zombies they were ignoring for the last 20 minutes surrounds them. So the player feels kind of cheated in that regard. We
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we were the few antagonists that we are throwing at players. You're not necessarily going to be able to ignore. You're going to have to engage that, and then hopefully that would mix in with
Fight
the
or flight, basically.
yeah, like with the player interaction and the antagonists that we're trying to create and develop, and not only that, but it's a lot of fun. Like I really love working on characters, and like the whole organic modeling thing is something I really feel like passionate about. So I don't know. That's kind of where we're at right now. And the Sapper, I think, is so far, because we've spent a lot of time kind of tweaking it, and me modeling it and from the ground up and recording the audio for it and all that shit. And Axeman, one of our other developers, I have to give a quick shout out to Scarnator and Axeman, two of the other guys that work with us. We're doing a fucking fantastic job. Axeman in particular working on the artificial intelligence for some of the for the AI, and I think the Sapper's working out pretty good. That's kind of, we want to have the uniquity or the unique elements that the Sapper brings. We want to have a lot of different types of antagonists like that, and not just have a bunch of melee brutes that kind of just slap you around.
Right.
And I think to expand upon that just a little bit, I mean, the way it comes together when we work on things, it's crazy. Like for example, the cultist, man, we were debating on what to do with that, and one of the things that a lot of players have responded to is in the end we all kind of just sat down and said, well, what do we want him to do? And it turns out that we paid an homage to the Doctor Who and the Weeping Angels. And
Yeah,
it literally has scared the crap out of my wife. She watches me work on this daily. She gets to see all this stuff early, and she knows about it. And when she actually sat down to play, she literally almost broke my eardrum when she met a cultist for the first time. It scared the snot out of her. So it's amazing how well things just kind of congeal together and work out almost like they were meant to be when we go to work on stuff like that. It's awesome.
Now, speaking specifically from the standpoint of the cultist, what was kind of the inspiration to bring in something I have not really seen? I know there's some kind of horror themed Epoch mods, or excuse me, Arma mods out there, but what was kind of the inspiration, the decision to actually bring something like the cultist into your mod?
Do you want the elaborate story, or like
the abridged version,
or the true story of what happened?
Do you want the story we're going to tell you, or the story of it?
No. Actually, the other guys don't actually even really know this either. But I was messing around with, I was starting on still messing around with the female player model at the time. I had it open in Max, and I threw up created a plane, that I was going to start shaping like some clothing with around her. And my system was taking a shit. I accidentally put a cloth modifier on it, and then my fucking Windows thing is spinning around, and and my computer was kind of taking a piss. So I went to go like get a drink, and I come back, and it was like kind of half draped over and looked like really spooky, like Grim Reaper style. And I was like, oh shit. And so that was the original thing. I'm like, oh man, this would be kind of cool. But yeah, you guys.
Well, like the thing with Epoch is that I kind of just set forth this concept of what we wanted to do, multiple antagonists, and we just kept talking about it and throwing ideas back and forth. And Paul is the one that came up with the current, the Sapper and the cultist, and that's all his creation basically. We just kind of set out this this idea that we would have multiple antagonists, and the limits are kind of stretched because it's in the future, and there's a lot of things that are different that you don't know really what's going on, and it gives us a lot of liberty to kind of explore different things, and we're not done yet. You know, we're gonna add many more antagonists. So you know, it may not seem like there's a lot of encounters now, but over time, you know, we'll fill in the gaps, and it'll be pretty cool, right? There'll be almost like the concept of raid bosses and things that are very unique and something that, you know, takes a lot of effort to take down, right? So it won't be just like one guy taking down, you know, something that's supposed to be special, right?
Yeah.
I love that idea. I like the idea. I like whenever people try to incorporate, and I use the term very loosely. And again, this is just my editorial comment, but I like when people try to incorporate MMO things from MMOs into Arma mods. I think that's very cool. I like to see. I think it'd be very cool to see some bosses that would take more than like one or two guys to bring down. You know, like if you want to bring it down without losing people, you're gonna need to bring your boys. You know, I love that idea. And I also I want to kind of continue on with my editorial comment here. I do want to commend you guys on how that your different antagonists take different tactics to bring down. So the UAV,